Hello, my name's Scott. I'm a professional magician and this is a magic review.
It's a kind of magic.
In today's review, we're looking at Blindfly by Leclerc. The TLDR on this is that I think it's so good. It's so stupid and it's so funny. And Eric actually says that this will be the biggest laugh that you get in your show. And I'm inclined to agree with him, or at least believe him, because I haven't put this into a show just yet. But I love it. I think for the right kind of performer, whether it's a comedy magic show or whether it's just a stand-up comedy night or whether it's even a bit more of a serious show, I think that if this suits you, it's so good, but it's a little bit expensive for what it is. And I'll talk about the price justification throughout the review. But I really recommend this. It's well made. It comes with half decent instructions that tells you what you need to know. And that's it. Yeah. So I think this is a brilliant product, as silly and foolish and stupid as it is. And I think that so many people will get probably the biggest laugh in their show from this product. But what is it? It's basically a blindfold. So if you haven't seen the trailer for it, and of course you can go and watch the trailer after watching this review, but it's basically during the show, if you use a blindfold to put on, you can put this on yourself or you can put it on a spectator, and then you can do whatever kind of magic trick it is that you want to do, or gag or routine or story. And then when you take the blindfold off, it becomes apparent that it actually wasn't a blindfold. This whole time it was your underwear. So that's what it is. Basically, there's a couple of reveals that are included as well, but I'll touch on that in the next section. That's what it is. It's a blindfold that turns into a pair of boxer briefs, underwear, and it's a visual gag. But what do you get with it? You get this pair of underwear slash blindfold, which appears to be really well made. You receive this, which has a QR code on the back that takes you to the instructions, which are roughly 19 minutes long. And the instructions are interesting and they have some nice points in them, but don't teach you too much. But this only has a QR code on the back, which is fine because we all have smartphones, but would be nice to have a URL because most laptops don't, or most computers don't have a way of scanning a QR code. So for me, I had to scan it with my phone and then copy and paste the URL and put it into my laptop. And so it's a bit annoying. So it would be great if Eric and other creators, you can just put a little URL there for us. Keep it simple. Even something from Bitly or a URL shortening website, put that on there as well as a QR code. Only takes you a couple of minutes to add that. In addition to that, to the tutorial, you also get these bits. So Eric does take you through a routine where it's also a reveal of a playing card, a chosen playing card, a thought of playing card. So you have 6s/9s with some diamonds and also some hearts. And they stick on here as playing card reveals if you want to include that as more of a magical routine rather than just the gag of a blindfold turning into underwear. But how easy is it, I hear you ask, to take your underwear off and put it on your face? But how easy is it, I hear you ask? Really easy. It's super simple, as I'm sure you can see. It's literally just folding it up in the way that Eric teaches on the instructions, and then you just take it off, whether it's your face or their face, and it does also act as an actual blindfold. So that's so simple. Anyone can perform that. Eric talks about using it in kids shows, in adult shows, in all kinds of shows. He talks about using it on himself, on others. There's a little twist involved, but wherever you're using it, it's super simple and really easy to use. Reset time is just 5 or 10 seconds. You literally just have to fold it up, put it back on. I probably would think that people aren't going to use this twice in one show, but whether you do or you don't, it only takes 5 or 10 seconds to reset the whole thing. And if you wanted to, you could just peel the stickers off and put more stickers on in place of the diamond or the heart, and you would be ready to go for another performance. Angles are kind of redundant for this. As you can probably tell, there are no angle restrictions at all for Blindfly. you have it folded up, ready to go. It looks like a blindfold. There's nothing showing underpants wise. Then it's a completely open reveal to your whole audience. So I think that whether you're using this on stage or whether you're using it in a street performance, I think it would go down really well, because for a street performer who's surrounded 360 degrees, you could take it off and then show it around and put it in your box. And there's so many ways that this can be used, and there's so much fun to be had with this. There is an important point though with that I'll touch on in the final thoughts, but for now we are on the angles, and the angles are fantastic. You can perform this in any situation with no restrictions at all. Pocket space is next to nothing. You're talking about a piece of cloth, the same as any other blindfold. So if you put it in your pocket, it's probably going to take up one pocket space. If you have it in your box, it's just going to take up a small little area. Eric says that he always has it laid out lengthways, but you could also have it piled on top of each other like that, and then you can open it up to put it on. There are no magnets in this, so there's no clasps or anything. It's all through gravity. There's no pieces of Velcro other than the piece of Velcro that attaches on the back of the head. There's no other things that attach or connect to each other, so you don't have to worry about this attaching to magnets in your box or catching on anything like that. And my final thoughts on this, I think that it's fairly self-explanatory. It's roughly £40, so I think that's quite expensive for what it is. I don't know how many units were produced of this though, and of course that's one of the big issues when you talk about manufacturing magic, because the more units of something that you get made, the smaller the cost per unit is. But that obviously means you need to expect that 5,000 magicians are going to buy it. So for me, for £40, roughly, you could go out and you could buy yourself a 3-pack of Calvin Klein underwear. And I'm not saying you should, and I'm not recommending that, but my point is that you could basically take a pair of Calvin Klein underwear, do exactly the same thing as this, put a little bit of Velcro on it, and then have 2 other pairs of underwear, of premium underwear that you can also use. So I'm not sure that the price is good for this, but I do love the product. If you do shows, whether it's stand-up shows, whether it's comedy shows, whether it's stage shows, parlor shows, or street performing, or even you could probably get away with this in close-up shows, then I think that as long as it suits your style, it's fantastic, and you're going to make all the money back from one performance for the cost of Blindfly. For the average person, I don't think £40 is worth it. And that also brings me to another point for the average magician who perhaps isn't creatively minded and doesn't write their own scripts and doesn't think of other ideas that they can use this in presentations. This is a very fine line of being weird and creepy. So it's obviously really important, and Eric does talk a little bit about this on the instructions. It's really important that you don't make this weird. And I know that's hard for a lot of magicians, but it can be super fun and it can be super charming as long as you're playful with it. Just don't be a creep. Eric and myself beg you. I think that's everything for Blindfly. If there is anything else that I think that I've forgotten, I'll leave it in a top pinned comment. All of the details for the product will be in the video description. If you enjoyed this review, hit the like button, subscribe. If you have any questions, leave a comment below, and I'll see you in the next review.